Movie Throne. I'm your host, the one and only King Kansas, here to bring you another movie review and recommendation video right here on YouTube land. What am I talking about? Well, I think this is my 31st brand new movie review right here on the throne. What a way to mark it off with one of my buddies, my favorite actor in the world. I don't care what you believe or what he believes in his personal life. I don't care. But there is no denying this man is one of the greatest, if not the greatest actor on the face of this earth. Who am I talking about? Tom Cruise. What movie am I talking about? The Last Samurai. Let me give you some details, guys. Like always, I'll give you a non-spoiler at the beginning, and then I'll give you a complete, I guess, spoiler-filled review. Why I like it and why I recommend it for all you guys to check it out if you haven't seen it already, because if you haven't, it's a shame that you haven't. But anyways, hope you guys like my other video too. There'll be another video I'm going to post later. You'll see, I'll mention it near the end of the video. Okay, Last Samurai. It came out in December of 2003. It was directed by Edward Wick. It's about 2 hours and 20 minutes long, and here's the cast, guys. If this cast doesn't sell, especially the first 2 or 3 actors, nothing will. Tom Cruise, he plays, I think it's Lieutenant Nathan Algren. He's like an American war hero that apparently has done wonders. He's fought with Custard. The movie takes place, I would say, late 1800s, I want to say. Ken Watanabe, he plays Katsumoto. He is the guy who is in charge of the samurai, the rebels in a sense, that are, you know, protecting the emperor, but they're also a target of the emperor. That'll make sense later on when I get into the details. Billy Connolly, which is hilarious. He's a Scottish guy that he plays a loudmouth guy who's good friends with Tom Cruise's character. He plays Zubulon Grant. Like I said, he's crazy. There's Tony Goldwyn, which is Colonel Bagley. He's the general that kind of fought with Tom Cruise, and shit went south, and he wasn't too a big. Let's say he's not a fan of his, and can't really stand him. Masato Hodura, he plays Amora. Sorry. Timothy Spall plays Simon Graham. He's the British guy who likes to take pictures and write notes, and kind of like a biographer, I want to say, historian. Let's say that. Shichinosuke Nakamura, he plays the emperor, the young emperor, who's pressured in doing stuff that he shouldn't be doing, kind of thing, like government political son of a guns, let's just say that, or more powerful, kind of twisting him and kind of blackmailing him to make decisions against the samurai, making them the rebels in a sense. That trust me, it's a love-hate relationship there. There's Shin Koyamada. He plays Nobatu Napudata. I think it's the Ken Watanabe's son. Koyuki Sanada Yuijo. He's the samurai that kind of has it in for Tom Cruise when he first meets up with him, and then kind of wins him over later on. And then Koyuki is she plays Taka. I think she's the wife who's left with 2 little kids to fend for themselves now. It's the character or the samurai that Tom Cruise kills, and then he ends up staying in their house, which is a very unique situation there, but there's a reason for everything. But from the opening scene, guys, to right till the last moment of this film, you will be glued to that set like there is no tomorrow. It's beautifully shot, a lot of historical content, philosophies. You learn the way and life of the samurai and what the samurai stands up for, or what they stand up for at one point, and now they're being hunted because of this politician. Major manipulation of the Emperor of Japan during that time, during feudal Japan. They're trying to make contracts with different allies to kind of thwart these people, but not realizing that they're really the good people that they're fighting, but this guy wants power hungry. Gets his due, trust me about that. Tom Cruise is this general who fought in so many battles, like, you know, like, I don't know if you, with General Custer back in the day, they were fighting the Native Americans or Native Indians of that time, and they call them Redskins back in the movie, which you can understand. They kind of like, he lived through hell. Let's just say that he keeps on having flashbacks of the trauma, the atrocities that he witnessed and what he was a part of. Unreluctantly, he was in there for one reason, but then he's seen how this scumbag general, this colonel guy that he worked for, this other American, trust me, he's going to get his due. He can't stand him, but he kind of does not trust him. So, anyways, so he ends up fighting the samurais, does his thing, and what do you call it? He learns their way of life and to understand where they're coming from, and he slowly figures out the truth. It's an amazing film, guys. If you love samurai movies, epic drama films, you like Tom Cruise, Ken Watanabe, just those two, hands down, amazing. If I have to say, this is probably maybe one of my favorite top 10 movies of all time. Yes, that's a lot to say, but it solidified it when I watched it again. I think I must have seen this movie at least 10 times, and it was a good 6 or 7 years from the last time I watched it till I watched it a few days ago, and it's amazing. It still hits me how he did. Very impactful, very inspirational for me. Kind of like inspiring. Amazing culture, Japanese culture. Their history is amazing. I find it amazing with the samurai and, oh my god, geisha and all that stuff, which you'll see later on what I'm talking about. But it's so cool the way they were believed and how simple life and how much joy they would get out of it. And, you know, they weren't trying to be modernized and all that. But overall, I highly recommend you guys check that out if you haven't checked it out for yourself. So get your butts on your couch, watch it, rent it, buy it. If you buy it, you're not going to regret spending your money because it's worth every single penny. I have not regretted, and I would highly recommend it to every single person. Okay, spoilers is not going to be too much because I want to keep this short and simple so you guys can go see it. Come on. Those two actors, Ken Watanabe and Tom Cruise, sold. Those two guys cannot do wrong. Love the lure of how it was the last batch. Kind of reminded me of the 300 Spartans going up against the rest of the world. In that case, it was the Japanese, and they were trying to fight the old ways against the new ways. You had a new kind of like, I think it was president, I don't know what the hell he was, to the emperor, kind of manipulating him and pressuring him to doing stuff that he didn't want to do and to kind of get away from the ways of the samurai that were very simple belief or way of life for money, greed, power, and all that crap. It was I think it was set in the late 1800s, I want to say. Tom Cruise is a general who has fought many wars. He's kind of like a war hero that has hit the bottle, is drinking a lot. You know, he looks like he's promoting at the beginning of the film some sort of guns that people can, you know, sell so they can make more money after the fact of the war that they fought the native Indians there, you know, custard and all that crap. And I don't know, he's been having nightmares and shit, so he's following his demons. He's drinking away his problems and post, you know, traumatic syndrome issues there with, what do you call it, drinking. But anyways, he meets up with his Scottish buddy who kind of convinces him to go back with this general that he can't stand to help train the Japanese or the emperor's normal people take on the samurais who've been eluding him and causing trouble and kind of like rebelling him, you know, so they won't allow him to have an easy pathway to take over pretty much all of Japan and control of Japan. But yeah, Ken Watanabe plays the major character on the other, who's in charge of the samurai there, and you learn very quickly that he's actually the good guy and not the bad. Tom Cruise tells the guys, you know, he gets a whole bunch of troops that are not ready to go against these things because they're worried about the railway getting derailed or some shit, you know, progress being made, and they don't want it to stop. So they attack early. The samurais literally obliterate all of them. They end up taking Tom Cruise as hostage. Tom Cruise, before he does get taken, he takes out one of the good samurais there, and he ends up staying in their house too. Listen to this. This is what gets me going, which takes a lot of balls. I don't know how Ken Watanabe's character did it, but the person who Tom Cruise killed is the samurai who he's going to be staying there during his imprisonment, during the whole winter season and stuff. It's the wife and kids of that guy who he killed, which is fascinating. Their culture, and he died a good honor, like the Americans versus the Japanese kind of way of thinking kind of thing, ideologies. Amazing. You got to learn more about the samurai themselves, how they lived, how they fight, how they train. Tom Cruise ends up becoming one of them. Over time, he learns to appreciate their way and their philosophies and way of life, and, you know, live and die by the sword kind of thing. And so many twists and turns, from the Emperor not having the balls, the young guy, because he's been pressured by the other people around him to go against Ken Watanabe's character and stuff, and to bust him out of there later when he was in prison. Tom Cruise's character fighting on the street. There's an amazing fight scene on the street that Tom Cruise takes out literally 5 guys without a weapon, and then he takes them down well. It's kick-ass scenario, and I think you guys are going to love that part. To the epic going back home, getting all the samurais rallying, getting close to the wife and kids of the samurai that he killed kind of thing was pretty neat. Going to fight by their side against the people who he once trained and who once believed for everything. It was amazing. So he ends up fighting the epic final battle. Oh my God, right the last second, and then you have the general who was using these new high-tech guns that are kind of like machine fire, like rapid fire kind of cannons. I don't even know what the hell they're called, but the way they did right up to the last second and dying, and then Tom Cruise had to put the sword so he can die an honorable end to the main character, Ken Watanabe's character. It was cool, and beautiful scenery, cherry blossoms, and if you love Japanese culture, the lore of the samurai and their history and all that, wants me to want to jump more into it and delve into it, because one point the king wanted to go to Japan before this movie, because there was just something fascinating about Japanese culture and the samurai way of life for me personally. Samurai swords, you name it, whatever. But this film has it all: drama, action, battle scenes, very memorable, very heart-touching scenes, like a roller coaster ride of emotions. Beautifully done, beautifully executed from beginning to the end. 2 hours and 20 minutes of glory, in my opinion. There was a quick reference to the 300 Spartans when they were saying, oh, those guys are bringing over thousands of troops in their battalions. They only had maybe about 500 people. So Tom Cruise kind of brought up the reference with Thermopylae and the 300 Spartans, and he asked Ken Watanabe character asked Tom Cruise, so how did it end? He goes, every single one of them died, but the Empire fell after, which was kind of brought a smile to Ken Watanabe's character. But the trust between those two, and then from him putting the suit on to fight in honor of the person he killed and the family that he kind of lived with and kind of got close to, the kids and the wife, she was starting to follow them, and then does what he do. He ends up surviving. I don't know how the hell he survives. Gets over drinking. He got over the drinking part, which was pretty damn cool. And at the end, they're wondering, he disappeared after his last meeting. He gave the sword, Ken Watanabe's character sword, to the Emperor that he wanted, and he goes, you know what, make sure you do what you got to do. So he does. He stands up to those bullies. He basically takes all the money from that bastard who'd been manipulating and kind of using it, power in his sense to do whatever he wants and control the Emperor. So Tom Cruise disappears, and he ends up going back to where Ken Watanabe and the samurais had called home to kind of basically, from what I gather, be with the girl of his dreams and live a nice, normal life, simple life, But amazing movie. It's probably one of my top 10 movies of all time. I can watch this movie every single time. Highly recommend it. I don't know, I think I rambled long enough. You guys tell me what you think. Would you watch it now that I mention it? I know Tom Cruise is in it, but you know what? Tom Cruise should have won an Oscar for this. I don't know if it was nominated for anything for 2003, but it was one of the best films of that year, and it should have won. He should have won something for that. 100%. It's a damn good film from beginning to end. You guys are going to love it. Let me know in the comment sections below your thoughts, and let me know if you haven't seen it. And when you do see it, go back in the comment section and tell the king what you guys actually thought of it. So there you go, guys. That's my Last Samurai, starring Tom Cruise and Ken Watanabe, movie review recommendation. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Check out my other video. Check out my other video later today, if not tomorrow, concerning Memoirs of a Geisha. That's another favorite film of mine that came out 2 years after this one, believe it or not, which I think you guys are going to love. And it's amazing if you haven't seen it, but tune in for that. And this is just a little sneak peek. And like always, like, share, subscribe to my channel. Stay off the king's throne. And stay tuned for my podcast. Take it easy.